Today to our webinar. I'm Michael Hazelhurst with our client care team here at Argano. We're going to be speaking to you during this Brunch and Learn about streamlined document automation and integration using Dynamics 365. I'm joined here today by Martin Pissant, and let's get started. Just some housekeeping items here to talk through. If you have technical or content related questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A window and we will address your questions. Closed captioning is available by selecting the CC button in the bottom right corner of your media player screen. You can expand, minimize, and move each of the window panes displayed on your screen if needed. This presentation is being recorded, and we will send all registrants a link to the recording post-webinar. Like I said, my name is Michael Hazelhurst. I'm a manager within our client care practice. The presentation is actually going to be given today by Martin Pissant. He's a senior consultant, senior technical consultant, also within our client care practice. We work closely together. Just wanted to let everyone know the demo today is going to be focused on a law firm, a fictitious law firm. But I think everyone could easily see how this could be applicable across industries and also to your particular business. And at the end, we'll have time for questions. So please post any questions in the chat and we'll address those at the end of the presentation. With that, I will hand it over to Martin.
Thanks, Michael. Welcome everybody to this Brunch and Learn. Depending on where you are, it could be in the morning or it could be the afternoon. Doesn't really matter. So a little introduction on myself. I've been with Argano for over a year now, and most of my experience lies into operation management. My previous job was into the telecom industry. So I've been managing a telecom company for about 15 years. We were servicing North American territory as well as Europe. So basically we were installing internet services with networking solution for about 100 different internet provider across the world, about 500 subcontractor as field technician to install the services. And we had about 100 different contract to manage with our major client in regards to pricing, execution, service level agreement. If the internet was down, we had like 4 hours to resolve the issue, and for other client it could be like 48 hours. As you can see now, I changed carrier, and the reason why is simply because during my initial implementation of D365 to improve all these contract management inside the business, I just fell in love with it. I was depending on many developers to bring me up to the market, but with a few months of implementation with Microsoft, I was way further than I could ever be with developer in-house. So let's dive a little bit into this. Today's agenda. Obviously, we talk about document management. I'll tell you why in a few seconds. I'll do a small introduction. I'll talk about the challenges in regards to document management. Whether you are a law firm, whether you are an internet supplier, whether you're a field servicing company, there's always some contract here and there. And inside contract, you have a lot of important information, pricing, implementation method, you have service detail, a bunch of info. We're going to talk about third-party interoperability. Don't worry if you don't know what it means for now. I'll explain it in a few minutes. And we're going to do a demonstration of the solution itself. And like Michael mentioned, there's going to be a 15 minutes at the end for questions. All right, first of all, why document management, right? Why is it important to streamline your document? So let's take my experience. I had contract with every single internet provider. I had contract with every single subcontractor. And I had contract with client as well to respect service level agreement. At the time, our commitment to our client did not work. We were not able to follow our contract agreement. So we were promising to be there on site within 4 hours, and we were at 5 or 6. Sometimes we could not even measure it because our CRM at the time wasn't able to do that. The provider was giving better pricing, but since nobody took care of the old contract, we didn't even bother about it. So since it was poorly managed, the document itself, the contract itself, we were losing sight. We were losing track on, like, do we need to refresh this contract? Do we need to send a tech on site quicker? Should we find another one? All those type of information. And when we decided to implement D365, actually the first year we've reached 100% success rate on our SLA, so service level agreement. So for a client that needed to be repaired under 4 hours, we were at 2.25. For or a client with 48 hours, we were I think like 36, something like that. And we were also able to refresh our old contract. So you have an internet provider today, they're offering you the services $100 per month, but then they have a promotion, and the next year it's, instead of being $100, it's 75. So just by refreshing all our contract, and it was 3 years contract or 5 years contract sometime, we were able to save the first year $500,000 just by renewing our contract, refreshing our contract. So that's why it's important, because first we're giving bad services to our client. Like, are we respecting what we said we're going to do? And maybe we're also losing money. Maybe we're paying stuff that we shouldn't be paying, right? So that's one of the main reasons. So manual processes. So in our case, and I'm always giving you an example on based on my experience, right? So we were tracking field technician. So the field technician was doing his job, and then he was sending us the paperwork by email, but it was going into a distribution mailbox that wasn't linked to any system. So the people that needed to take a look at the invoice, make sure that they're all good, all clear, ready to pay the subcontractor, well, it was creating sort of a delay. And we had some issues where the subcontractor didn't want to do business with us anymore because we were just too slow to pay, or sometimes we couldn't find it. So that's one of the reasons. Document retrieval. Well, because nothing was automated, well, sometimes we just couldn't find the work order. Sometimes we just couldn't find the contract because it wasn't centralized. It was just lying into someone's computer or in a server somewhere. And we got the compliance and security risk. So we were managing client contract in people's computer. So there could be a confidential risk over there. So if somebody was having, bad manners and wanted to send a contract to someone else, well, there was no security in the system for that. Obviously, we didn't have any automation in the system. So when the client signed a contract for, let's say, a 4 hours repair, well, it wasn't linked to our system. So at the time, we were not able to find out, like the customer care team wasn't able to know if we needed to send a tech like right now or tomorrow would have done the job. Right? Auditing, well, since it was on someone's computer, well, we had no clue if we had the most recent file, right? So if you have Bob today and then Bob is gone, then you're having an issue because the file is on his computer. So a bunch of issues. And simply to say, collaboration is the hardest part because it was on one server or one's computer. It was awful. Like, we needed to create meetings, and even during meetings and adding more content to the contract, we didn't know if we had the last contract. So it was pretty terrible. In terms of the collaboration itself, there are a lot of businesses out there that did invest into digitalizing documents, right? So, like, taking my work order, scanning it, and sending it by email. Yeah, that's fine, that's good. But there's no interoperability. So what interoperability means, it is the ability of a computer system or software to operate in conjunction with other system or software. So when your interoperability is properly set up, it means that you're able to talk to other systems, right? You don't just send an invoice into someone's mailbox. It has to be connected to either your finance system, your customer relationship system, in order to properly be executed, right? Or treated. That's what interoperability means. It means that it talks to other systems. It's not, we're just not putting it into a server somewhere and nobody touch it. And then when we take a look at it, we're like, we're not even sure if we're looking at the right thing, because is it the last one or not? We have no clue. Like, was it other content that was signed after the contract was done initially? We don't know. We have no clue. So those are the challenges that we have. So here I built a D365. Actually, it's a demo. So it took me about 20 hours to do it. It's a basic of how our system like Microsoft Dynamics 365 could be very well organized to simplify your life. So you can talk to other systems and brings you data. But before we dive into this demo, I would like to talk about the different components I've used to build this demo. So the first one is on the top, we have SharePoint, which is a Microsoft Office 365 product. We're going to be using SharePoint for storage area, just to store or document. Then on the left, we got Power Automate, which is the tool in the Power Platform. We are using Power Automate to orchestrate all our document automation. Where do you want to see the document? Where do you want to populate it? Do you want to assign it to a client? Do you want to assign it to an issue or whatever? That's what Power Automate does. On the right side, we got DocuSign, which is not a Microsoft product, but we will use it for electronic signature. So we're not just going to do like, oh, here's my document, I want to automate it into the CRM. We want to send it to the client and be able to have an electronic signature with it. Then on the bottom, we got MS CRM add-on. It is also not a Microsoft product, but we're going to use it to streamline any document with some variable content. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a Word document, right? And on the top, it says your client name. Well, instead of being done manually, well, okay, my client name is Bob. Well, we attach it with the add-on, and with D365, it will locate the client name automatically. So when you send the contract to the client, everything will be done automatically, and you're going to see it in the demo. And obviously in the middle, we got D365. So in the middle, that's our main tool. So everything is going to be done into D365. And we want everything to be bidirectional. What we mean by that is we want the CRM to talk to other tools. We want it to talk to DocuSign. And we want DocuSign to talk back to D365. And the same is true for every single component over here. So we want to talk to SharePoint, we want to talk to Power Automate, or we want Power Automate to talk to D365, and the same thing for MS CRM or add-on. All right, so before we dive into this demo, I'm just going to give you a little bit of context of this demo. So imagine we are a family law firm, and our business name is Argan Law. So as a law firm, we do need to manage client documents. We need to manage legal documents. We need to manage service contract documents, and many more. And in our business, well, most of the time, the documents are stored into the employee mailbox, and to search for document is a complete mess. And when somebody is gone, it's just awful because we can't even look at the document anymore, or it makes it very complicated. So in this demo, I'm just going to show you how we streamline all this. And the scenario we have here is a beautiful lady named Lucy Legalwit. She just got divorced. She found us via Google, and she's sending us an email. And you will see all the magic happening within D365 on how we can track all the documents. So here's our Oregon Lab logo, and here's the presentation. All right, so we have our client. Our client name is the beautiful Lucy Legalwit. And she recently got divorced. And she found us via Google on our website. And she is ready to send us an email with our marriage contract. So I don't know if you ever dealt with a lawyer firm before, but normally you call and you leave a voicemail and you wish that somebody's going to call you back, or you're going to send an email and you're not too sure if when you're going to be answered, and sometimes it's pretty urgent. So so you have two ways: calling, sending an email. That's usually the way to go. So here we are Lucy. And, we're giving a short description of what we're looking for. And we're also sending a contract or marriage contract to the law firm. We could be sending it now. We could be sending it like in a future email. Doesn't matter. But we decided that, one email, it's a law firm anyway. So why not? So we got the email here, blah, blah, blah. And we got the attachment over here. And we're sending it. So Lucy sent us the document to our business. So I'm a lawyer. I'm actually, I don't know, I'm in lunch break or whatever it is. Well, I'm receiving an email. So this is my mailbox. So I just received an email saying that, this is done by Power Automate. So Power Automate just sent me an email saying, hey, we got this client that that wish to have our service, right? So like here, I just click on the link, and then it brings up the whole application. That takes some time to load. And there we go. And it brings us directly into the lead. So I didn't have to do anything at all. The system just created the lead by itself. To better understand, I'm just going to give you a short idea of how D365 works in terms of the sales module. So the first thing you do is you create a lead. So a lead is a prospect. So it's a client that wants your service, but you're not too sure if you're able to answer them, right? So let's say in this case, if Lucy wanted some criminal law advice and we're a family law firm, it wouldn't be a good fit. Here we're in the lead process, so we're in the getting to know each other type of approach, right? So the first thing I want to do is, reach back to Lucy, sending her a welcoming email message and, saying that somebody will get back to her. I could have automated all this, but I'm just going to do it manually for now. I'm just going to create the email over here. And here the template is already in the system. So I didn't have to take a look at my emails or whatnot. My email template is already over here. I apply the templates. It applies the presentation of Oregon law, what type of service we do offer to this client, right? So, and, everything is already there. And then we could send, doesn't matter. And we have the document, which is already over here. And now let's just update our leads here with the client name. So Lucy Legalwit, and I will just assign this to myself. There we go. I'm just going to save that. All right. And on Lucy's side, well, she just received an email, with all the detail of the business and so on, with the Oregon Lab presentation of our services or expertise or whatnot. So I didn't have to do anything at all. I was into the CRM, and we just received a lead, and she already received an email with a presentation of the business, and we could add a message here saying like there's a lawyer that will get back to her within the next 24 hours.
So we're managing the client expectation in this case with my document automation, or my email automation in this case. So there's no magic so far here. There's a lot of Power Automate. For those who knows what Power Automate is, it's a tool that you can automate scripting. You can automate different tasks in your system in terms of tables and workflow. So the next request we need to do, so we have a bunch of chat with the client here and there in terms of, you need family law advice. Okay, good. You just got divorced and you need assistance right now. Well, you know what? You're the right client for us. So we need to qualify the client. So that's the first thing we need to do. So we're no longer in the lead step. We're now into the opportunity step. So Lucy is the right target. It's exactly the client I'm looking for. That's exactly the client that can answer their needs. So I can send a bunch of email to Lucy. I could give her some phone calls. And if she has some document, I will ask Lucy to send me all the document via email to the same email address. She doesn't need to have my email address, doesn't matter. The system tracks all that. And what we do here is we take all the document, because this is timeline. This is all where the activities happens. And sometime you could have like one entry like this, which is super easy, right? We do see this here, we click and bingo. But we could have like 20,000 entries over here. And it could be a nightmare to find document. So what we did is we have a script in the back and behind the scene that takes all the attachment and puts it under the file table. So we centralize all the document. So this is into the opportunity, but we're also doing this into the contact. So if we go into the contact and we want to take a look at what's all the files she shared with us, right? Well, we got all the information over here. So everything is centralized. So within 10 seconds, I would just go into the contact and I will see all the file. And this applies to the lead, to the opportunity, to the case, to the activities, to the contract. So any document she sent me in any table, it would go and centralize to the contact, which makes things very easy for me as a lawyer to take a look at all the documents we have for this client. So we have a chat with Lucy, and we establish that, yes, Lucy is the right target for us, and that Lucy could benefit our services. So now we need to build our contract. So normally what we do, right? We go, we open a Word document, then we write, we make sure, dear client name, then we type Lucy over here, the service offered, the amount offered, everything is manual, right? Then we save this, then we would take this document, send it to DocuSign website, then we would add who's allowed to sign, what kind of parameter you want on the form, and then send it with DocuSign to the client. And then the rest will be done by automatically. So those are all manual tasks. But in our case, we don't have to do that. We just go over here, we select the product we want to add. In this case, it's a law firm, services, consultation. There's other services too, but that's the primary one. So we just add the service over here, then we click on Send Contract. So I stayed into D365. I didn't have to move out. And I'm going to be able to send the client. Here I'm just checking the person that are allowed to sign the contract. So in this case, I want the client to sign first and I'll sign second, because it's been, the client doesn't matter. We could have 1, 2, 3, 4. Person that signed doesn't matter. And so I stay inside D365, and my document is generated, is sent to DocuSign for e-signature, and DocuSign sends it to the client. And the beauty of it is, if we go over here, we have DocuSign transaction. And when we click on this, we have a status. So there are 4 statuses with DocuSign. created means that we just created and it's going to be sent to the client. We have open, which means that, hey, your client did open it and is actually reading your contract. And we have completed means that, hey, the client signed the contract. So I didn't have to do anything, and everything is done automatically with 65. So I was talking earlier about document core pack. Let me just bring the Word document back here. So in the Word document, as you can see, we have those fields. Those are dynamics field. So they are populated from D365 already. So if there was many product, then this table would just be bigger. And you can see the name and whatnot. And you will see, I'm just going to share back what Lucy received. So let me just go over here and bring a Lucy mailbox. So here we go, Lucy mailbox. So you can see she received a document from DocuSign. We're reviewing the document. And all the information are already generated with D365. So I didn't have to move out. I have a standard template that is over here. So no human error, except if you didn't pick the right product. That was the only thing, right? And that's it. So we just signed this. So this document requires two signatures. So the client signature and my signature as well. Let me just go over here into my mailbox. Let me just go sign this document. All right, and here I can see the client sign. There we go. And everything is done. Now, because I have the demo license, this envelope is not going to be updated. So just for the sake of the testing here, just the sake for the demo, I mean, I'm just going to test it myself. So I'm just going to write needed. And then what's happening here is when the final signature is done on DocuSign, DocuSign do a post message. So it updates this row over here and sends and change the status from whatever it was to completed. And then what we have inside D365 is, yes, it is completed, that's fine, but it would be nice to have the document, in our system. So we have a script again that is going to DocuSign and is going to grab the document, so the contract in this case, and bring it to the file folder over here. As you can see, it's already over here. And I had document previously, so we can see all the documents are over here, and even tells you where the document came from. And if we click on it, the document is here. So I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go to DocuSign to take a look at the document. I didn't have to, build this Word template or whatnot or modify it, right? Everything comes from D365.
All right, so in our opportunity there, we were at the point where the contract was signed. And since we're trying to streamline the whole document process, so it comes from, we start the conversation with the client, then we send a contract to the client with all the details and payment methods and pricing. So that is all done automatically. So we no longer need any document at all. And then the electronic signature is sent and everything is done and is completed. And here we have all the documents centralized. So the next step after that is to be aware that, a contract was signed and we're ready to work on it. In Dynamic, there's another script that simply sends you an email saying the contract was signed, and it sends an email to the lawyer saying, there's a new case ready to work on it. So this is only like a very basic format. We can change this and put an hyperlink to it, doesn't matter. We can put it in any way we want. So there's a new case that is created. So that means that there's a valid contract, and we're ready to work on the client issue. So if we go into the case over here, we do see there is a open case with the client already in there. And the beauty out of it, so let's say there's a client that has a contract with us that is already signed, and I don't know, he's calling to get our services for something else, right? Well, when you go over here and you click on new case and you select your client, there's a script over here that is looking for active contract detail, and it tells you that this contact over here doesn't have a valid contract. And if we do select our Lucy over here, and it says it has a valid contract and leaves her name over here. So since we have all the data within Dynamics and all the document is streamlined inside Dynamic, we can do things like this. My document is automated. It's sent to the client automatically. It creates a case automatically. We can send an email to our lawyers, to our admin team, to make sure everything is aligned. We don't really need to talk to each other because the system does it for us. Though, there's never enough communication, that being said. And then here we have another rules within the system that tells us if this client got an active contract or not. So if let's say I had this client in my database, but there's no valid contract, it would tell us there's no valid contract, and I could redirect the client to the admin team. Simple as that. So that's another awareness we could use, another mechanic. So imagine the contract is done electronically. So whatever condition we have in the contract, since the data lies into the contract and the data talks to Dynamics, we can use any field in the contract to do any kind of condition or automation we want. So that is the beauty of streamlining your document and gathering all the information. I used to work for a company where we had subcontractor all over North America as well as in Europe, and it was a nightmare to manage all these subcontractor contract we had with them. We had about like 500 different subcontractor, so it was really hard to manage a contract. So that is with our subcontractor partner. We were installing a networking solution. And then we have client, retail client that do have specific service level agreement. So, but everything is in the contract, and all the contract were either signed and put on a storage, but then you go to customer service and you're trying to respect something that is not in the system. It's kind of impossible. So by automating all your document like this, you have all the details and all the information, and then you can customize it per client if you want, per solution, per product. So that's the beauty of it. I hope you enjoyed my demo. If you have a question, let me know.
All right, so I hope you guys appreciated the demo. I do see that there was quite a language change that happened during the demo, but you can see the essential here where we're really automating the whole process of the document. And that is just basic, like I said, 20 hours of work to provide that. Imagine what 200 or 300 would bring you if ever contract automation is needed. Any question? Feel free.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. That was great. I don't see any questions right now, but just wanted to reiterate, if anybody is interested in any more information about this or implementing it or other use cases that we could possibly implement for you, please reach out to us. If you are an existing client, then you can log a case through our client care portal. If you are a prospective client, you could reach out to myself. It's mikell.hazlehurst@argano.com. You can also reach out to Martin at martin.pesant@argano.com. We really appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, we got a question. So, is the doc generation context specific? Can it scrape dynamics to choose which template you should use based on already populated fields in Dynamics, or do you have to choose the correct one each time?
Actually, both scenarios are possible. So if you want to always send the same template, we could automate that. If you want to send a different one, there's also the possibility to do that. I guess it depends on your condition there. So let's say the field is, I don't know, your product type is always, I don't know, like field services, then it will always send like the field services document generation. But you could have like 3 different field services contracts. So maybe you don't want this mechanic and you want to pick it by yourself. Maybe you want to pick a different one that has no data in the document itself. So yeah, so all the possibilities we're able to do. That's not an issue.
Thank you, Martin. I'll give it a few seconds to see if there are any other questions. That question was from Brett Griffin. Thank you, Brett. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Y'all have a great day, great end of your week, and please reach out if you have any questions for us. Thanks again. Bye.